This man brought freedom to millions. The oppressed were monkeys, their masters were trees, and he was on a vacation. These are the origins of a modern superpower, the Kingdom of Oshal. Atumahea was the last settled continent on Aufeyne. The first to arrive on the Big Island were the Sawi, a species of racist trees, and their addict ape servants. The Sawi trees had one goal: take over the world, make it their sprawling ecosystem, destroying everything else. But being trees, they couldn't act alone, so they enslaved an entire species to work for them. The Sawi apes were kept in line through addiction, magic, and good old brainwashing. Native to tropical climates, the Sawi groves struggled to spread in the colder Atumahean landscape, and rivalries between different groves for scarce resources became common. It looked like the petty wars would continue on forever, until, in the east, there came a small, damaged ship. The first halflings had landed on the continent. Masters of sailing, eating, and chemical warfare. High cost of living back home had forced many to leave the archipelago in search of new homes. Tens of thousands rushed to settle in Atumahea, and they didn't appreciate some talking trees taking up the valuable beachside real estate. The halflings didn't win every war, but they did win enough to carve 6 republics, plus 2 colonies out of the northern coast. The republics were essentially city-states with extremely well-fortified capitals, and the Sawi couldn't exactly walk up and tear the walls down, especially since the halflings had a near-endless stream of poor migrants to throw at the groves for the promise of land and loot. Starving out the cities also didn't work, due to the halflings' overwhelming naval dominance. With time, the wars became less extreme. Halflings and Sawi resumed fighting among themselves, and in some places there was even a rise in trade. The hallucinogenic nature of the Sawi fruit made it very popular in the mainland, and made the halfling merchants a lot of money, and a relationship of mutual benefit had formed between the warring sides. Then came Shah Amadi, a powerful wizard whose arrival shattered the tense peace that had developed. His arrival changed everything. The Sawi were used to being the strongest wizards around, and they began to panic at the prospect of a bunch of halfling wizards, some of whom were stronger than them, coming to their continent and hunting the groves, driving them towards desperate measures. In retrospect, Amadi should have known that the Sawi wouldn't be happy at his arrival, but really, how was he supposed to know they'd unite around a leader and start a war of extermination? That year, all contact between the groves and the colonies suddenly stopped. Trade ceased and the merchants were left angry and confused. By this point, the republics, now populous, rich, and strong, had managed to alienate all their old allies in the archipelago. And so, when war began, no ship sailed to bring reinforcements to the republics. The Sawi came in numbers never seen before, fighting with steel weapons the halflings had sold them, unified under a single banner, and spreading plagues created with the power of magic, which could overpower even the potent immunity of the halflings. Shah Amadi, meanwhile, had built a cabin in the mountains. Wait, what? He did what now? Is this written correctly?
Yeah, he was on vacation.
Not even 2 years into his holiday, the Republic sent messengers, begging Amadi to join the new war against the Sawi, which had begun to turn badly against the halflings. It was only after a year and 5 such delegations, and upon learning that 3 of the coastal capitals were under siege, that he decided to finally entertain the situation. The Archmage didn't want to waste even a second more of his vacation time than necessary, and so opted for the fastest, if most dangerous way to end a war. He, his apprentices, and a small army from across the republics snuck across the mountains and headed for the greatest enemy grove, the Sawi known as Tarem. Tarem was the biggest and most powerful Sawi in all of northern Atumahea, ruling over much of the river that was named in his honor. When the Sawi began their war against the halflings, he was elected as their collective leader, something that had never happened before. but for someone as paranoid and as immobile as a Hisawi, his security was found a bit lacking. The halfling attack on the main grove was unexpected, brutal, and had mixed results. As the Jisawi and halfling soldiers clashed, it seemed it all came down to the battle between the archmages, an honorable duel between masters. It was anything but. While Ahmadi distracted the tree, in the heart of the grove, one of his apprentices stabbed a heavily enchanted spear into its proverbial back. The magical death scream of the grove tyrant could be felt as far away as the northern cities. The halflings had won. Their master dead, the battle ended quickly. The Jisawi apes in despair after being cut off from their connection to the tree, and knowing that the fruits they required to stay intelligent would soon wither and die. Except they didn't. Ahmadi had been studying in his brief stay. He knew that if he simply killed the tree, then the Jisawi would just regroup, choose a new leader, and he would have to do everything all over again. So he made a weapon that would leave the tree alive, producing fruit, even growing, but incapable of thought or spellcraft, and he left his apprentices there to teach the surviving Jisawi the same method. Maybe spark a few more rebellions, and just generally make trouble. He believed that if the tree were busy dealing with slave revolts, they wouldn't be in a position to bother his vacation. Not for a few decades at least. The newly freed Sawi were left to figure things out, while he, with a job well done, headed back for his cabin in the mountains, victorious. And his apprentice, Oshal, became a king.